who they are and how they behave.
Meanwhile, Ron, Republican lawmakers, not all of them, but some of them, are trying to find new ways to rewrite the history of the attack on the Capitol that we all saw with our own eyes. There's this group of Republicans led by Congressman Jim Jordan sending a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, somehow suggesting that she's partly to blame for the insurrection. They write, quote,
sending an email to Nancy Pelosi suggesting that she's somehow to blame? I mean, Nancy? My Nancy? CNN.
5 weeks have passed since the January 6th attack on the Capitol building, and many important questions about your responsibility for the security of the Capitol remain unanswered, unquote. Now, obviously...
Yeah, just so you know, there were questions that were asked of Nancy Pelosi weeks ago, from my understanding, and we have yet to hear any answer. That is unacceptable, right? We can get into the weeds about Mitch McConnell and whatnot, but please explain to me what is the delay in answering some very basic questions. If she's got nothing to hide, then answer the questions. I don't care who you are, Democrat or Republican. I want accountability from everyone. You work in government. You work for us, the American people. When stuff like this goes down and questions need to be answered, they need to be answered.
There's legitimate questions that need to be answered about all of this stuff, but A, they didn't write a letter like that to Mitch McConnell, who was just as responsible as Nancy Pelosi was for security in the Capitol. And B, are they really trying to blame Nancy Pelosi for her own potential assassination? I mean, they were trying to kill her.
So that's a valid point he made, in theory. You had a violent mob in the Capitol. Pelosi is very hated by those types of people. They were actually looking for her. So, in theory, that's a perfect alibi. How could she be in any way responsible for negligence that would put her own life at risk? Because she's a politician, right? She's about the money and the power. I don't really believe she cares that much about we, the American people. Can't read her mind, so I can't say that for a fact, but I'm not a big believer. But I do believe that she wants to protect herself. That's one thing I'm sure about. She's all about herself. I just don't know how she feels about the rest of us. But that being the case, why would she put herself at risk? However, that's assuming she did put her life at risk. Surface level, of course she did. If she did something that allowed the Capitol to be more exposed to an attack, on the surface, it seems like she puts her own life at risk. However, this is one of the reasons why we need an investigation. We need to know the details, because let's just say there's some kind of grand conspiracy. She could have made it so that she makes sure that she is out of harm's way in time. Because if you notice all the videos and all of the conversation, do you notice that we don't really see much about where Pelosi is? Now, my understanding is she would have been in that room where they were certifying the votes, but I never see her in any of the videos. We saw Vice President Pence, right? We even saw him. We saw Mitt Romney running down the hallway. We saw all these senators. I never at one time saw her. Where was she? When everyone was being evacuated, where was Nancy Pelosi? No one's talked about it. So without me knowing, I'm not making I'm not implying anything, but what I am saying is we need more data to make an assessment of whether she would be putting her life at risk if she was somehow involved in the lowering of the defenses, right? In order to make that assessment, we need to know her whereabouts during the attack. Right? Because if she was really planning to do something, part of the plan would be her making sure she's not at risk. Right? So without me having any evidence to suggest that she was actually at risk, she was at assumed risk, right? Because they were looking for her. But if she was someplace safe and she planned it that way, then maybe she wasn't at risk. What if she was in some kind of safe room? She knows there's a safe room, and she plans it in a way where the minute that they come to the front door of the Capitol building, she has somebody notify her, and then she's excused herself. I gotta go see what's going on, right? Head straight to her safe room, and then whatever, right? I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios. Let me do a quick search if I can see something about where she was. That's interesting. So I typed in, where was Nancy Pelosi? And the first guess was Pelosy, January 6, 2021. So I'm not the first person who wonders where she was, because she's not in all the videos. Where was she? Not finding anything. Wow. I don't see any, I can't find any information about where she was. Where the hell was she? I just see some Republicans asking, and that's fine. We know that they're bad actors or bad faith actors, but it's a valid question and it's not being answered. So I don't care who's asking it. I care that the question is unanswered. Let me look at her Twitter. So we want tweets from Pelosy. Let's get a date. January 6th. Okay, everything she tweeted on that date. I don't think she's a big Twitter person, so I don't think it's going to be that much. All right, let's see what we got. So she tweeted, why her tweets begin at 13 on the 13th. Where's her tweets from before that? What the hell? That was kind of weird. So now I'm getting further. January 21st. 7th. Okay, there you go. 4th. 6th. Watch as the Congress certifies election for Senator Harris. So she tweets out this video.
Every week we ship that.
This video is weird. I don't see any evacuation or anything. When did she tweet this? 1 p.m. Watch as the Congress certifies. She sends this out at 1 p.m. I don't understand. I can't find out where she was. I don't know where she was, man. It's weird.
Well, right. I mean, you have people who spent months feeding the misinformation, actively participating in what you've called the big lie that the election was stolen, which was so critical to providing the fuel here for this attack, and then turning around and saying, well, whoa, you didn't do enough to protect the institution from the riot that we helped to incite all the way through with our rhetoric.
These are all valid questions. My only issue is the dismissal of the calling of Pelosy to be held accountable. Absolutely agree with everything they're saying about the Republicans and accountability and how they've been stoking things along, and definitely blood on their hands. But two things can be true. That can be true at the same time. Pelosy needs to give us answers. She's ultimately the one in charge of the Capitol Police. It's Capitol Police to the chief, to the board, to the sergeant at arms, Pelosy sergeant at arms, to Pelosy. Pelosy and Moscow Mitch need to give us answers. Why was the Capitol so unprepared? Why was a request for additional resources denied by the sergeant at arms? Why does it take weeks to answer these very basic questions that have been asked? What is the holdup? What is the problem? If there's nothing to hide, if Pelosi's totally legit, then answer the questions. Where were you? And why is it that the Capitol was so unprepared? If you notice in the CNN video, they spent the whole time talking about the Republicans instead of talking about both. They should be discussing why it is that Nancy Pelosi won't respond. Why all this time has gone by and we still don't know. Treat everything equally. But that would make you nonpartisan. Anyway, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Don't even ask me what that was. I got no idea.